Hi, today I want to show you what we do in natural hygiene when it comes to cuts or burns or just really pain in internal areas in the body, or just something on the skin that is painful and you don't want to take painkillers, because we know that it's not really healthy and it doesn't serve the need, and it treats just the symptom. But there is something you can do if you really want to give yourself first aid. It's called cold compress. Instead of just putting a plaster on a cut, let's say you had a cut from chopping some vegetables, and instead of just putting a plaster, there is something better that you can do that it's still in the boundaries of nature. It's called cold compress. I can show you what I have managed to achieve just by putting cold compress. That's a finger that I used cold compress for a few days in a row during the night, and that's a finger that I didn't. My fingers, my nails were severely affected by the fact that I've used polymer clay. I was an artist and I used to work with polymer clay for 14 years, and I used to craft and make pieces, different kind of techniques with polymer clay that involved extreme and intensive work with my fingertips. And I remember I went to my doctor, I'm talking about 8-9 years ago, because I've started to notice that my nails got really weird, and it didn't really manage to identify what was the reason. I was getting steroids for a few weeks, and then I've stopped that. But when I started to learn natural hygiene, I immediately linked the two together, because sometimes it's something that you do with your work. You can find out the reason from questioning yourself or questioning others, and then you can find out what is the root cause. So I want to show you today, I just cut this finger about 2 weeks ago, so I decided to put a lot of cold compress during the nights, and it's very easy, it's very obvious, and it's very apparent to see the difference, that this nail is starting to look normal, while this is still looks very, very distorted and horrible. So the point of cold compress is to send lots of blood and to keep the area wet. We do that by wrapping the area. I'm going to do it on my finger, wrapping the area with a damped cloth. The fabric has to be natural, so I use a cotton fabric. You can take an old vest or an old tank top that is made out of cotton, 100% cotton. You make sure I always have in my refrigerator, I always have clean water, boiled water or mineral water, always locked in a container in the fridge in case of emergency that I need to wrap or provide some kind of bandage to someone or to myself. My medicine cupboard is literally this, and that. That's all, or these kind of things. That's all I have in my medicine cupboard. I don't have any other medications or tablets, and of course scissors. So what you do is you make sure you always have cold water in your fridge, because the water should be cold. You dump the cloth, squeeze it, has to be wet but not too wet, and then you wrap the area. I'm going to show you how I do it on my finger. If you have dry skin or cracked skin or just an open cut or a burn from heat or from cold, it just sends lots of blood. And then what I do, I just cut a few of these, and I make sure I secure the cloth with a few of these plasters, because I want it to stay wet. And that's the principle. It has to stay wet, because as long as it's wet, it's working. The best thing to do is to do it while you're asleep overnight, because then you're not clumsy. If it's an area like fingers, it's really hard, but if it's an elbow, people with psoriasis, they have elbows that are very achy and the skin is very wounded, or necks or knees, then you can just do it all day, all the time. It doesn't matter, as long as it's wet, it's working. Now in the winter, it's going to be uncomfortable for the few first seconds, because it's going to be very cold in relation to your body's temperature. But if within 5 minutes you don't feel that the area is getting hotter, then you have to do it all over again. And that's the rule with cold compress. If you have any questions, just write them down in the comments and I'll try to help you.